last time on Thrill of the Race.
And in a minute, we're going to have about 15 abreast on the approach to the chicane.
Then you have to push pause.
Who's winning this one? Look at the speed again! Oh no, big crash! It's an OMG Yamaha. 1, 2.
Ryan Vickers from 15th on the grid just looked excellent.
And Vickers wins the sprint race ahead of Max Cook, who picks up his first ever BSB podium.
Credit to the team, and yeah, it's been a hell of a ride.
High speed, high stakes, Truxton delivers again.
It's August bank holiday. It's Bennetts British Superbike, and we are at the legendary Cadwell Park circuit, a circuit that this year celebrates its 90th birthday. All those years ago, there was a combination of God and a local gentleman called Mr. Wilkinson, and they came up with this fabulous racetrack that winds its way through the Lincolnshire Wolds. Fast forward 90 years and much of the old circuit still remains, and it is the greatest challenge on the Bennetts British Superbike calendar. 18 corners are packed into 2.17 miles, epitomised by the famous, or should we say infamous, mountain. A circuit that has caught the great and the good out time and time before, but a win at Cadwell Park is almost as good as a championship success. The packed banks reward the riders who get victory on this fantastic day. Lincolnshire is also the heartland to some of the most famous names in British motorcycle racing. Roger Marshall, we've got Peter Hickman and Lee Jackson of recent years getting local success, and the home crowd really stands behind their own. So the scene is set. The sprint race today, it's all to play for, and then later on today, the special feature race to celebrate 90 years of racing at Cadwell Park, the Monster Energy Cadwell 90 Trophy, which marks the end of the regular season. After this, it's the Showdown.
Coming into Cadwell Park, I had a quick look at the weather forecast before we came, and it looked pretty clear that we were going to have like 4 seasons in one weekend with the forecasts.
Free practice was wet, very wet. They did get a small window of dry running towards the end of free practice too. What I did see on free practice day was encouraging signs for some riders. Ryan Vickers really strong, as you would expect.
Test evening, we was fastest by half a second, and you know, we finished yesterday in the wet, 0.6 fastest. So really feeling good in both wet and dry conditions. You know, team have worked fantastic. I've just come here with last year's bike, but better, basically. You know, we've made small improvements this year, and yeah, I'm on a better bike than what I was last year. And to be honest, the only thing that's changed is the tyres. So to be able to do the same lap times as what we did in qualifying last year in a test evening on a harder tyre, it just shows how much we've pushed the bike on this year and how much I've improved as a rider. So it's okay. I know my way around Cadwell. I'm feeling comfortable, so you know, I feel like I'm in the best position out of anybody really.
I saw other riders kind of on the back foot, trying a lot of different things. Glenn Irwin, hit and miss. Some laps he looked like he was really fast and up in his time, and then he would come in the pits and abort it. Whether that was just playing a game with his rivals, trying to sandbag a little bit so they couldn't see what was going on, I don't know.
You know, they knew that it was going to be dry tomorrow, so it was difficult to go into. We were then thinking, Superpole's going to be really interesting. Always is here at Cadwell Park, proper entertainment. And then obviously in that final qualifying session, the big question was Glenn going to get himself through?
So Glenn Irwin out there then on the HIGGS PBM Ducati. It's been a tough few rounds for Glenn Irwin. A bit of bad luck. Some nasty crashes. They're sort of been chasing their tails a little bit with the setup as well, James. And as a result, Glenn Irwin, who was riding high at Snetterton, has fallen to 4th in the championship. Glenn Irwin.
Oh, and he's pushing.
Oh, he is pushing.
Look at that.
Pushing this Ducati through the tight and twisty hall bends and the hairpin and now barn corner. But it doesn't look like it's coming easy over the line for Glenn Irwin. He does move up another spot though. Final sector, he's absolutely nailed.
But then obviously rain started falling in that qualifying session, and we were informed that we weren't going to get the sort of one-lap wonder Superpole that we all wanted.
Glenn Irwin will breathe a sigh of relief. Back against the wall a bit there, and he did the job. He's through.
Understandable, of course, because of the weather conditions. So that did put a different twist on qualifying. But qualifying was probably the most dramatic 15 minutes, other than racing, I think that we've had so far this year, because so much happened.
Vickers has crashed. Vickers has crashed.
Vickers? Did you see Ryan Vickers making a mistake and falling off? I certainly didn't.
You think about so far this year, the stories have all been about, you know, Tommy Bridewell doing so well, and at the moment, the man in form is Ryan Vickers. And then 2 really rare mistakes by the pair of them.
Did you see Tommy Bridewell doing the same thing 30 seconds later? Certainly not.
Another rider gone down. It's Bridewell.
That's Tommy.
It's the championship leader who's now gone down.
I mean, Vickers' crash came at a really bad time. I mean, talk about a guy who came into this in the mood and in the groove, and an uncharacteristic error from him, and that's it. He's going to be, you know, last in that session, and then just as you're thinking, oh, well, that might play out quite well for Tommy then goes and does the same thing.
I tried to make it a bit harder for myself because I crashed in qualifying, which it is what it is, you know. It was my fault. I was getting a little bit aggravated with other riders permanently trying to get a tow. Riled me up a bit, but you learn, you know, you learn.
Bridewell had just gone purple in sector 1, 9th on the grid, and he's furious.
At some BSB circuits, you can get away with being a bit further down the grid, but here at Cadwell, you're going to struggle. And so it was then interesting to see what unfolded. There was a number of riders that went to take pole. I think Glenn did a really good salvage job considering where he was in the wet on the Saturday here. O'Halloran, seeing him back from injury up there.
Where is Jason O'Halloran? Here he is, out of the hairpin. Now just barn corner left. And let's see where the Completely Motorbikes Kawasaki is headed. Over the line for the Australian. Jason O'Halloran goes pole with a 25.9.
Fair play to the Osho. Remember, he's got bad fingers. He's got special casts on this hand. To see him get pole position was pretty impressive.
We've got the plastic splints on, and that's what we've got to deal with. So yeah, it's socket and see at the minute. You know, I need to feel a bit more comfortable on the bike, and it's difficult to do that with these things on my fingers. So yeah, we'll keep pushing on and see where we end up. Yeah, I was looking forward to coming here, but now just with a niggle, you know, it's not. This championship's hard when you fit. You know, it's even harder when you need your right hand and you struggle a bit with it. You know, so yeah, it's just one of them at the minute.
The 2 Hawk Racing riders were looking on song. Kyle was up on that front row and he's been looking super smooth around here.
Jackson now improves up back onto the front row with a 26.1. Nesbitt betters him.
Nesbitt got 3rd.
Qualifying was a bit of a stroke of luck, really, because with it being changed into normal qualifying, it gave me that chance to be able to build into it, you know, and go out behind Lee and a few other riders. Just being able to be towed along that a little bit, just find out the little bits where I was weaker in and find out where I was stronger in, which, yeah, gave me the position for the race, really, and that was all the difference.
Charlie Nesbitt on the front row.
Brilliant. Really like Charlie.
That's his best qualifying by a long stretch.
Qualifying, I think, was way more entertaining and dramatic than we were expecting it to be. And already an uphill climb for Vickers and Bridewell, with a lot of work to do for race 1.
It's time for a party in the park. Round 8 of the Bennetts British Superbike Championship for 2024 arrives at Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire. We started the season off in sunny Spain. We've travelled around Britain, and now things are getting serious in the championship. 20 racers down and 12 to go. The points all change after this event at Cadwell, but after 20 races, it's 25 points in his back pocket for Tommy Bridewell, the reigning champion, ahead of Kyle Ryde. It's lights out, and a good start from Kyle Ryde, also from Glenn Irwin on row 2 as they roar up towards Coppice for the first time. Inside line there for Glenn Irwin, but Kyle Ryde takes the lead. He's in P1. Up the inside immediately, though, is Jason O'Halloran. That was a lovely move.
All weekend, I wouldn't say I've been electric fast anywhere in any sector, but after qualifying, I realised I was kind of back to what I was last year, and I was really good in sector 2 and 3, so I thought if I'm 2nd or 3rd on the first lap, I'm probably going to get mobbed in sector 1 because I wasn't really good there, and when I had the opportunity to pass Jason on the first lap, I just gave it my all.
Kyle Ryde then challenges back on the approach to Park. He takes the lead ahead of the Australian Jason O'Halloran.
Well, it's serious stuff now. People are genuinely thinking about the championship, and you can see that in the rider's eyes.
And I think Kyle thinks he wants to be out the front and set his own pace. And Kyle's a rider that's happy at the front.
Good start then from Bridewell, from 12th on the grid up to 8th. Ryan Vickers is up to 12th. So through the chicane we go, and they are going to have to get busy. They cannot hang about.
When Kyle Reid hit the front, it was alarm bells for everybody. We said that on commentary. This is a red flag for everybody. Kyle's at the front. They need to watch. And he just started to slowly chip away and stretch that pack.
There is Vickers just a bit further back, but it's his teammate Ride that leads. The two Hawk Hondas are 3rd and 4th. Nesbitt followed by Jackson. There's Irwin, Haslam, Brooks, Tommy Bridewell.
My eyes, I couldn't help to look back to see where Tommy was, and he got a brilliant start. Like, his first lap was really, really clean, made up some great places. Vickers made up a couple of places as well. It's just a matter of time before they get towards the sharp end, and then obviously Vickers runs into a load of trouble.
Oh,
That's Vickers.
Vickers has got a mechanical. Something's gone wrong.
Yes,
There's
has.
smoke coming out of the bike.
You know, he's out. And then you're thinking, whoa, now you've got a job on your hands, because not only are you out, but you've not set a lap. So you're going to be on the back of the grid for tomorrow.
Oh, Ryan Vickers will be so frustrated over the start-finish straight. Tommy Bridewell looking to force his way through on Leon Haslam.
But then watching Tommy come through was really typical Tommy.
Tommy Bridewell is trying to make his move, and that was set up nicely. And as ever, with a Bridewell pass, it's clean, and he's through.
That's it.
No aggressive moves, picking them off one by one.
Riders sometimes look like they're pushing all the time. Some riders are just busier than us, but Kyle, when he's at his best, it's just relaxed. Look at it, just lovely.
Yeah, really, really great. We've got Yamaha, Kawasaki, Honda, Ducati, then of Glen Irwin, then a 1.6 second gap back to Tommy Bridewell.
You know, whilst at the front we've got the smooth riders of Kyle and Jason O'Halloran and Jackson and Nesbitt having a brilliant race, which is great to see. Tommy gets through into the top 6, and next on his target list is Glen Irwin.
You can see there the lap comparisons between Glen Irwin in 5th and Tommy Bridewell in 6th. There's Lee Jackson. He makes a move on his teammate Charlie Nesbitt. The door was open.
Looked at Charlie for a couple of laps, managed to line him up for the pass into Mansfield, got that done. Set back into a little rhythm where I ticked off a good few laps, which put me on pole for tomorrow.
No, Halloran struggling now and falling into the clutches of Lee Jackson. 26.5 for Ride.
And it's to be expected. And what we haven't mentioned before is last year they had
they're side by side, O'Halloran and Jackson here. They're really toughing it out at Charlie's.
When it come to passing Jason, it was quite a fast move that I managed to get done fairly clean, and Jason never gives in, you know. The next corner is straight back underneath me, and unfortunately that cost us the gap to Kyle. That one lap, we lost probably 1.5 seconds in total by the time you'd done that lap and the next lap.
Oh, yeah.
Bridewell's through, but he's deep. Here comes Glen Irwin and says thank you very much on the cutback.
Oh, you can get underneath.
Jackson, he pulled that off on his teammate earlier. Lee Jackson is up into 2nd place. Tommy Bridewell desperate to get through on Glen Irwin. He doesn't want to lose touch of the leading group. Kyle Ride at the moment doing a good job out front. There's a couple of moves here. Nesbitt goes through on O'Halloran, and again there goes Tommy Bridewell. This time it worked.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's almost like impossible for those two, isn't it, to be on the same, almost the same piece of tarmac and there not to be something happen. And lo and behold, something did happen.
Oh, Glen Irwin! He did that last year, and he's punted there. Tommy Bridewell onto the grass.
Well, I can tell you, me and James in the commentary box both raised our eyebrows when we saw that move, thinking, whoa, that's cheeky.
So out front, at the moment, it's still Kyle Ride, 1.8 seconds clear on Lee Jackson, and Nesbitt there in 3rd. So at the moment, this is looking very good for the Higgins family and the Hawk Racing team.
The last 4 laps or so, I could see my gap growing behind me. So I decided just to sit at the high 26s.
Here comes Tommy Bridewell up the inside now of Glen Irwin into Park Corner. Glen Irwin tries to get him back on the cutback, but he's not going to manage it. There we go. He's got the slipstream and he's through neatly. Without any dramas for Tommy Bridewell. And now Glenn will be eager to get through on the Kawasaki as well.
Nothing super spectacular, but just working his ticket.
Oh, Irwin's through. This is Glenn's only chance through here. I just don't think he's going to be close enough to...
There's a little bit of a chance of the hairpin, you know, if there's a good swing.
Oh, and he's on the grass there, Tommy Bridewell.
This is Cadwell. That's exactly what happens. You overcook it and there's no room for error.
Over the top of the mountain we go, and Bridewell using just
there might
about
be a chance for Glenn at the hairpin here.
There could be. He might have a look. Is he going to be close enough to make a move down into the hairpin? No. Defensive from Tommy, and that should be that. Unless there's some drama. But out front, Kyle Ryan, splendid. He wins it from Lee Jackson. Charlie Nesbitt is third, and Bridewell from 12th on the grid finishes in 4th ahead of Glenn Irwin.
The race was pretty lonely. I wouldn't say it was boring. It was nice to be able to tick off the same lap time every time. There's a few mistakes here and there, but there wasn't enough to allow anyone behind to catch up. So yeah, from what I've heard, obviously I was lucky that the people that was fast, i.e. Lee, had to pass a few people, and there's a couple of ding-dongs going on, else it could be a bit closer.
Coming into today, I knew that we was in a good, strong position. And the team kind of asked me to give Charlie a bit of a nudge in qualifying, which, you know, you don't mind if as long as he don't pip you, and obviously that's what he did. But realistically, you know, that's give the team a double podium today.
It's been a long time coming. I think for the whole season we've been there or thereabouts. You know, the actual race times, my lap times have been there, but I just haven't been able to qualify. And I think if I can qualify, I can sort of be there or thereabouts. So now I think for the rest of the year, if I can just qualify and I can get away with them, then I can run that race.
Did what I needed to do. Managed the pit board and seen the gap. I wasn't saying it was easy. It was still very difficult to do it as lap times. Probably couldn't have gone any faster, but yeah, I was in a good rhythm, and yeah, it was great to get my first ever win at Cadwell.
And that's what Kyle does at his best. You can tell when Kyle's trying. He's got the most unorthodox riding style you've possibly ever seen, but he's so good. And I said this before, if Kyle Reid could make that happen in every single session and in every single race, the paddock might not see which way he went.
A fascinating race. And Kyle rode brilliantly. He was under some pressure from Jason O'Halloran and ultimately Jackson. And he's a very clean rider. I think if he wants to win this championship, he's going to have to do a bit of what he did in race 1, but he's also going to have a bit more aggression. But he's got every chance of chasing him down.
Coming into this round, the form man was Ryan Vickers, who won 5 of the last 6 races. But coming into this round, he had a disaster, a crash in the practice, and in the race, a scary engine cutout at 150 miles an hour, when of all things, a lithium battery caught fire, cutting the motorcycle, and the riders behind had to take evasive action. It was a close call. Meanwhile, at the sharp end, it was his teammate Carl Ride that got the jump, and then behind we got the guys back together again, Glenn Irwin and Tommy Bridewell, with Glenn making an audacious move on Tommy Bridewell. We deliberated for a while, but we let it roll, and then Tommy did the talking on the track to get past his arch rival.
In truth, I think 100% of podium was realistic in that race. It was a shame, but hey, it's racing. You know, I took it on the chin. I managed to catch and pass them anyway, so it was nice to do that for sure. Obviously, for me, it was good to then be able to start on the front row for the sprint race today.
It's August Bank Holiday Monday, and that means only one thing: a party in the park at Cadwell. We're in for a heck of a brawl coming up for a 12-lap sprint race for round 8 of the BSB Championship for 2024. It's Lee Jackson, the home rider, on pole position, and in the championship there's just 19 points that separate Tommy Bridewell, the reigning champion, and yesterday's race winner here, Kyle Ride. Get to the edge of those seats, folks. It's time for 12 laps of Cadwell Park. Eyes on the lights, and away we go. Good start from all on row 1 and on row 2 as well. Jason Halloran on the Kawasaki coming through. Glenn Owen's got that inside line, remember, as they tip it into turn 1. Lee Jackson it is that leads on the Hawk Honda from Tommy Bridewell. Then it's Kyle Ride. Jason Halloran is 4th, with Glenn Owen in 5th on the Ducati. We will keep an eye on Ryan Vickers and his progress as he tries to get himself through the pack. The opening few laps so important.
Sprint race is always interesting in BSB because you know it's fast and frantic. You know riders aren't going to be worrying about tyre life, and with a few of the big hitters further up the grid, you know, it was interesting to see what was going to happen.
Tommy Bridewell then it is that leads around Chris Curve.
Is that Vickers coming?
Yeah, that's Vickers into 14th, and he's just gone up ahead of Max Cooks. This is a good start here from Ryan Vickers.
But he is considerably quicker than most of the riders immediately in front of him. Is he going to get
proper style? I mean, that is incredible.
He basically out-jumped and went straight past.
And out front, you know, Tommy was defending so well against Kyle, who obviously picked up the win yesterday, and the two Master Mac Hawk Racing riders are just really such a step forward.
Oh, here comes.
Yeah, right through.
Right through.
Oh, squeezes through.
Race 2 was a little bit frustrating because it felt like me and Lee could have passed Tommy, but it's very difficult to pass around here.
Sprint race, starting pole, obviously some home crowd nerves there kicking in, but so hard to pass at Cadwell, especially when there's two guys in front of you.
Charlie Nesbitt with a 125.8, the rider in 5th place.
Yeah, it's coming
82, that's a new, oh no, it's just outside the lap
just
record.
outside, yeah, by less than a 10.
But he's on that 2023 Honda and he's reeling in the front four. There he is, number 86. Yeah. Brilliant.
The sprint race was well, pretty sprinty, wasn't it? Lee and Charlie were brilliant this weekend. Yes, Charlie might have had a step off in the pre-event test on the Friday, but that's done and dusted. What he did this weekend showed that we know how good Charlie Spud Nesbitt is, and we also know how strong Lee Jackson is.
But let's see what happened to Glenn coming out of the little chicane.
That's
there.
beautiful.
That's a clean move. That was a lovely move. You've got to set that up coming out of barn because you've got to be in exactly the right place going at a coppice. Lovely that.
When Lee passed me, I thought he's got great pace. Thought I'll let you have a go at Tommy, and I gave him 3 laps and he didn't pass him. I could see he wanted to, but he couldn't pass him.
Meanwhile, out front, Tommy Bridewell looking for his 2nd win of the season, but he's got local rider Lee Jackson for company.
He's got a giddy-looking Lee Bob Jackson to call with here.
It was one of those races where at the front you were waiting for things to settle down and then keep an eye on Ryan, and he did a good job to get himself through to 6th after like a dismal day.
There's O'Halloran and there's Ryan Vickers, number 7, in the slipstream now, pulling out on the approach to turn 1. Ryan Vickers from 20th on the grid then, he's up to 6th, and I think that's just about as good as you could have hoped for.
Charlie was catching me up, so I passed Lee back so I could have a go at Tommy, and before we knew it, there's 3 laps left and Tommy went into his defensive mode and I really couldn't pass him at all. And
oh, here comes Kyle Ride, clean.
Oh,
not really.
A little bit of a bobble, they both back, goes a bit wide, but it's clean enough.
Tommy got himself to the front of that sprint race, and he did that through really clever riding, clever masterful overtaking, and just being the defending reigning champ, and that's how Tommy Bridewell does it best. I don't think he was necessarily the quickest man on track, but what he was quick in the right areas.
One of these 3 will be on the top step, you would think, at the end of this lap. Bridewell leads at the moment.
I don't think Jackson's close enough to do his move. No, he's not.
Is he going to be able to block pass on? Bridewell on the approach now into Park Corner. Jackson's there as well, but he just can't get through. And there's only 1 corner left. The checkered flag is out. Bridewell, the current championship leader, his last win at Knock Hill, but he adds to that and he extends his lead. Bridewell's back on the top step.
A great race. We had a few different overtakes here and there, but yeah, unfortunately I didn't get the win today. I felt like we should have maybe won that one. We had good pace all weekend, and the chance was ours there to take, but obviously it didn't quite happen. But another podium after yesterday's 2nd, so yeah, great to be back on the podium.
if I'd have made a move, I don't think it'd have been very clean, or if I did, I don't think I'd have finished 1st, he'd have finished 2nd, he'd have probably finished 4th or 5th, and I'm not that sort of person, so I think there was a time and a place. That wasn't it, so yeah. 2nd place, still a good result. It was a shame that the person that beat me was Tommy, who was 1st in the championship.
I knew my best opportunity to win was probably the sprint race because there's a few areas that we're struggling, and honestly, we're working hard. We are working hard. So I learned a lot last year how to win a championship. I want to be winning more races, of course I do. But at the moment, the bike is, if right or wrong, the bike's just not quite to the level I need it to be. I'm not saying that, you know, we're far away. We're very, very close. And when the wins are on offer, I will 100% take the wins, you know, and fight tooth and nail.
Is that your 2nd win? Yeah. I love it when it's like that. You're only at the top, near the top, and you've only...
It wasn't my prettiest win, no. Like, I feel happy enough, but it was like...
The only thing I regret...
The bike's hard, to be honest. I know I'm not making excuses, but the bike is hard work. Lee's riding better. I would have said Lee's looks a bit stronger than mine, so... But you look like you're longer on your thingy. Do you find it better?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I don't like being on top of a bike.
The only thing I regret is I defended from Lee into the chicane so I followed you. And if I'd have just gone normal, I'd have gone now. You'd have missed your gear and I'd have passed you.
And then I'd have been really upset.
So I think it was less stressful on your body.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's because Tommy was so slow for here.
Yeah, I know. Now, weirdly, at the test, I wasn't as bad as I am now, but I also think if you passed me for air, then
Yeah, you just
Yeah, have it,
I caught you for all bends, but then you drilled me over the hilltops. Yeah.
I am a bit loose.
It's been a thrilling weekend so far. We've had two different race winners. Kyle Ryde took the spoils yesterday. Tommy Bridewell took them earlier, but Ryan Vickers is back on the front row. It's Charlie Nesbitt on pole, Kyle Ryde second on the grid, looking for 3 podiums, and Vickers is taking him all this time just to get up to where he needs to be. 20 laps coming your way then here in Bennett's BSB at Cadwell, and it's lights out. Good start from everyone really on those front 2 rows, apart from maybe Glenn Irwin, didn't get away initially too well. Christian Idden got a great launch. He's trying to come up the inside, but we tip it into turn 1. It is Kyle Ryde, it looks like, that's got the advantage. Number 77 on the Yamaha, in a position he loves to be in. The 2 OMG Yamahas are going to be looking for glory here as they fire it down the park straight.
Naturally, our eyes are drawn to Ryan Vickers this weekend because of what he did at Brands, because of what he did at Thruxton, and we knew he was going to try and pick up the pieces after licking his wounds, you know, earlier in the weekend.
Ryde will lead them at the end of lap 1. Good start from Nesbitt from pole. He's in the mix as well.
He went out like a bull in a china shop. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. That opening lap, you just could see. If you could see the eyes through the dark visor, you would have seen like someone going wild. I mean, he was so up for it. And the start of lap 2, he goes through on Nesbitt into turn 1, and he does a move on his teammate on the exit of turn 3, goes through, and it's almost like he wants to make a massive statement now. After everything that's happened, I want to show who's boss again. I'm going to continue my speed.
Yeah, and I'm getting a little stick. Oh, hang on, is this an out and outside from Vickers?
Oh, and contact there between Vickers, it looked like, and Nesbitt, or did his foot slide off the peg?
No, I was a little bit of contact. If not contact, I think Vickers sort of went. That's a typical move.
Oh, look at this.
Look at this. He's not wasting any time, is he?
He means business, Ryan Vickers. He showed that over the last couple of rounds, but it all went wrong yesterday with a small mistake, but he wants to put it right with a statement victory here in race 3.
And I think that's what he's after.
And not many people were doubting it. He came across the line at the end of lap 2, having made 2 overtakes, and was a fraction off the all-time lap record. So he was pushing to the absolute limit.
Quite prepared to push it to the limit and a little bit beyond sometimes. He lost the rear, back to first gear for the hairpin, get off the gas, it's downhill, the thing just let go. He controlled it really well though.
Oh, he crashed! He's crashed at turn 1! He's asked too much! His second flying lap of the race was a 25.891, and he's dumped it into turn 1.
I have not, in the last few years, ever seen anyone lose the front just from sheer speed at turn 1 at Cadwell Park. And he folded the front, which means that's a positive camber, that turn 1. That means he has just gone in there like too hard. He's asked too much of the front. I feel so sorry for him because he's clearly got that talent and speed.
Whilst that happened, Tommy Bridewell, as he often does, has just picked one off. He's gone through on Lee Jackson, and Kyle Ryde leads. This is a position where he won from yesterday. This is what he likes to do, run his own lines out front.
Obviously, that then left his teammate out front. Tommy comes through, the Hawk boys are there again, and then Tommy gets up into second, and then you're sort of thinking, oh, is Tommy going to try and make a statement now to Kyle Ryde and say, right, you're my #1 contender, have some of this.
This looks like a wind-up from Bridewell. He got a really good drive out of Charlie's 2. He's going to put himself in a position to get under Glen Irwin in Park, and that is the classic Bridewell/Cadwell move.
As we cross the line then, Kyle Ryde it is with the advantage. Tommy Bridewell lining up a move now on Charlie Nesbitt, and again neatly done through into second place.
Yep, very neatly done at a corner that is difficult to be neat because it's just so fast.
I knew it was going to be a tough one. Every rider around here finds it physical, it's natural. And it was almost a survival of the fittest, if you like.
Meanwhile, out front, the man second in the championship leads the way, Kyle Ryde. until yesterday, never won a race at Cadwell Park, looking to make it 2 out of 3 this weekend.
Number 14 on the orange and white and black bike, that is Jacko having a look at his younger teammate on the same team machine, but different coloured 86.
He's lining up his move.
Yeah, that's his signature move, and that was a lot cleaner way of doing it.
Fascinated to know what the mindset is of Tommy Bridewell here in second place.
Yeah, because this isn't just nobody in front of him, this is second place in the championship that's sneaking a few more points back.
Because mentally, there's that a momentum shift. Is that going to give the belief to Kyle Ryde going into Oulton?
Yeah, I was surprised actually after about 14 laps that he was still right up my chuffer, because the pace I was setting was actually shocking me. I thought I could do 26.3, 26.4, but when I seen 26 flat after about 15 laps, I didn't understand how he was keeping up, because prior to that, the sprint race, he was doing 26.7s towards the end.
Honestly, I take my hat off to him because he set a phenomenal pace, rode really well. I put him under pressure every lap. I felt good. I felt strong. I just felt I was on the limit every lap. There was nothing left, like nothing left in my bike.
Into Barn, he'll try and get a run. We've seen him do that this race, nicely and cleanly past Jackson. Or more likely, and I think the Honda might have a little bit of top end, maybe a couple of miles an hour on the Yamaha down the top straight, where we come to now after Charlie's, and set something up into Park, because he's made that work really nicely before.
He came into this weekend with that look, Tommy Bridewell, of I mean business. If you recall, this time 12 months ago, he won race 3, and that's where the tide started turning a bit. He asked some questions of Glenn Owen, and now he's thinking about a move on Kyle Ryde.
That was
Is that a dress rehearsal, maybe?
Yeah, well, he's got time to do it. We're on 18 of 20. So, yes, maybe a little bit of a rehearsal.
I've never seen bikes make that shape before going around Cadwell Park and riders stay on them. Kyle Ryde got himself into some sort of rhythmic state, and he was just awesome to watch.
That was a good response from Kyle Ryde on that lap, a 26.2 for the number 77 on the Grilla OMG Yamaha.
Well, I don't think Tommy's going to be close enough this lap.
The gap ebbed and flowed, it to and froed, it yo-yoed, say what you like, around the circuit with Tommy Bridewell. Now, both guys went about 4/10 to 6/10 of a second a lap faster in that race. The pace was absolutely heroic, and it was the longest race of the weekend as well.
How hard is Tommy prepared to push, and what is the sort of risk-reward situation when it's only 2 points different?
Yeah, absolutely.
Although saying that, it's a swap of 4 points.
I thought, Tom, if I've got it in the bike, I need to be trying to attack him now.
Well, we're about to find out, because Kyle Ryde's put in another really good lap. The final sector, he's absolutely
brilliant.
smashed.
Yes,
over the line to start the final lap then. Kyle Ryde looking to take a double victory here. Another 26.3 from Ryde. Bridewell not close enough, nowhere near close enough to make a move into turns 1 and 2.
I don't even think he's close enough to get a good run out of Charlie's 2 and have a go into Park, which was going to be his favourite, or my thought of his choice of a pass.
No, nowhere near close enough down into Park either, but is Kyle Ryde going defensive?
A little bit defensive. You just give him a little bit of a jink there, just to put him off if he was behind him.
I'm riding over the limit. I'm losing the front most corners. I'm grinding the foot pegs. I'm over the limit. For me to try and then catch and pass Kyle, let's say in that race, I'm crashing. For sure, I'm crashing.
I don't think Tommy's got anything for Kyle here.
A brilliant weekend from Kyle. When all the eyes are on the other side of his garage, he's gone under the radar, and he's become the #1 contender to Tommy Bridewell for the championship.
And he has delivered a win yesterday, a second place earlier on, and he's just got 1 corner left against the championship leader, who's waved the white flag and said, yep, you can have that one. Kyle Ryde does the double at Cadwell and wins the Monster Energy Cadwell 90 trophy. What a weekend for Ryde.
And King of the Mountain trophy.
I don't think I've ever seen Tommy Bridewell ride that hard and not win a race. And if you remember, on the last episode of Thrill of the Race, I said coming here, Tommy Bridewell would win and Glenn Irwin would win. I got 50% of that correct. Bridewell today was on form, dragging that Honda around the place. Said he was still missing a little bit of something, but he also said hats off to Kyle.
And on Tommy's side, what you have to just take your hat off to is he was in a very similar position to Ryan Vickers at the start of this weekend. He crashed in qualifying, and it could have gone wrong for him, but it didn't. He rode from 12th to 4th in race 1. He wins the second race, he takes second. He's doing what champions do.
Shame really not to be as close to the win, but I was happy to get myself into 3rd, set my little rhythm, and just fend off from my teammate. But again, the pace was so hot. Carl set a fantastic pace out front. You know, Cadwell's never easy, and if you can get yourself into the perfect rhythm, then everything can just tick off really.
So second place at the moment was a win. Yeah, that's where we do need to up the ante at OULTON Park for definite, and we need a bit of a step in the bike.
I got in one of those rhythms that when I get in it's quite hard to beat, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to be at the front straight away and put the hammer down, and yeah, fair play to Tommy for keeping up like I said, but obviously I just had a little bit extra, and yeah, sometimes these weekends don't come very often, but when they do you've got to take them with both hands and make the most of it, and I did that, so I'm proud.
Monster Energy Cadwell 90 trophy presented by Stuart Higgs goes to the race winner, Can Ride!
Hats off to Kyle, but I think hats off to them all. The way the guys ride this Cadwell Park roller coaster through certain areas that are completely different from anywhere else on the calendar, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Thoughts to Ryan Vickers? Well, Ryan Vickers did what we didn't expect him to do and what he certainly didn't need to do. That's a disaster for the championship. Is it championship over for Ryan? Well, we're moving towards the showdown where the points change. We get more points for a race win, and remember, we go to Brands Hatch where you get a whole heap more points.
On paper right now, it looks like it's Tommy versus Kyle. I mean, every single round we go to, it looks like there's someone different in there, but one name that never goes away is Tommy. There might be a new contender every week, but the same person that they're fighting is Tommy Bridewell. They're going to have to go some to beat him in the last 3 rounds, but things are about to get pretty tasty. 3 rounds left. But the points difference is massive. There's 255 points available over the next 3 rounds. So yes, it's advantage Tommy, but this is BSB and anything can happen.